All right, welcome back, my fellow agents. It is I, X7, your master of animated awesome and the host of Zenorama, the podcast of heroes and monsters. Today is just another animated Monday. You're lucky I didn't sing it, so you are thanking me now. And we are reviewing the next 5 episodes of Speed Racer. And we're going to be zipping through them because that's a lot. It's a lot of episodes and a lot of pictures. I don't like these 5 episodes for the most part. But be that as it may, please, before we get into it, leave a comment, watch and like, share, and subscribe. Whew, I had to be thinking here. Like, share, and subscribe. Leave me a comment. And if you could, watch a little longer, as long as possible. It might be a longer episode, and it may or may not have extra stuff in the middle like usual. We'll give it a shot. Are you ready? Drop that checkered flag and let's roll. Yeah, I know you know who we're reviewing, so I don't really need it, but it's a nice title card before we get to the actual title cards. Mach 5 versus Mach 5, which translates from the Mach 5, a hair's breadth from danger. I don't think they've got that right, but Mahago Kiki Ipats Zenpen, Part 1. Zenpen is a fun word. First, all these episodes aired in Japan from August 27th, 1967 until September 24th, 1967. Okay, let's roll. And the Secret National Science Institute, the SNSI, which I'm not sure if we'll see again, but maybe. What's this? The Mach 5 is using its air jacks to jump over it? Arma, and I don't think Gardi survived in the Japanese version, but he groans here. There it goes. Somebody runs in and runs out. And then we cut to Chim Chim and Spritle making a small version of the Mach 5. We find out Speed was out late last night. Ooh, mystery. And they decide, Spritle decides to take the mini Mach 5, out for a spin. It does not work okay. Shows up, knows who they are, and wants you to go to the police station with him because guess what? There's the Mach 5. Trixie's there. Uh-oh. Speed thinks he's going to help Inspector Detector. And he's like, I need to discuss something with you here. So he relates what happens last night. There's Lorena, not the famous Lorena, but she broke down and he took her home. And that's her father, Dr. Nightcall. Not a bad name. Who were very hospitable. And then he got sleepy and then he was out until past midnight when he came home. When they go and visit her, they deny everything. Nope. But then we find out Dr. Nightcall's working for someone named Cumulus. And they built a duplicate Mach 5, of course. Speed's in jail for some reason, even though they only have the Flim. I mean, yeah, they have the Mach 5 being there, but nobody saw Speed being there. I don't think they'd have thrown him in jail. Thug shows up and tells that he wants him to go. He tricks Speed into busting out of jail. They allowed him to bring in some plastic explosive, but even Speed can't fight that many guys. And then he realizes I fell into a trap. They really do. A lot of shows at this time rely on the hero's naivete. I can understand if you're younger, like say Prince Planet or Astro Boy, but Speed should have known better. I mean, come on, he's a racer. He's been a racer now for 25. This is 22 weeks. So, he knows there are unscrupulous people out there, but apparently he doesn't. Pops is sure of him, and then suddenly Chim Chim remembers that he was cruising down the streets at night when he saw Speed stop and help Lorena and followed him, and then he fell asleep. Apparently, he went back before that. The man drove, and then he came. So Sparta was out really late. The racers don't seem to be very attentive parents, do they? But anyway, so Inspector Detector believes Speed. So good on him. And off they go to raid the house. They run in and they've got cops with them. And they're like, stay right there. And they leave. Now, Lorena, and of course, Speed goes after him. Lorena says, we should give ourselves up and go to jail. She's actually, you know, she's a better person than her father. There he is, Cumulus. And there's the faux Mach 5, which goes up to 350 km an hour. Now, as a kid, I never noticed the km. We just figured it was miles because it doesn't matter really, but it's kilometers, which isn't quite as 350 miles per hour. That would be ridiculous. That's almost, that's half Mach speed. But there they are zooming. Speed's a better driver, of course, because he's trained. But the faux Mach 5, can fly. Oh, and it's also a VTOL. It's got jets under it. How did they fit all this into that car? Must weigh 2 tons. I mean, and he's got a Mismo beam right in there. So there they are. There's the zap, 20,000 degrees. And if that's Celsius, it's ridiculously hot. Although by that time, it's probably the same as Fahrenheit. And maybe even Kelvin. And it's aimed, and this is the narrator, just aimed at Speed and Trixie. Mach 5 versus Mach 5. Cohen. They do a bit of a recap, and he's going to destroy it. But he jumps at the right time, and fortunately he sends out the robot, the drone, essentially his drone, and it destroys the Mismo beam. And now Cumulus realizes he can't outrace Speed, so he just flies off. And there's Speed, or there's Trixel, Spritel, and Chim Chim. It should be Chixel. That's what I'm going to start calling him. Chixel, or Chittle. That would be Chittle, wouldn't it? And apparently, Inspector Detector, for all his brains, doesn't realize that these two little dimtwits can, sneak aboard anything. Down it goes. Down goes the Mach 5. But, there's how much air they have left. It's like I thought it was 15 minutes in the opening episode, but Inspector Detector says it's 30 minutes, which is probably a bit better. If you're going to have 30 minutes of air, and there's two people breathing it, so it wouldn't even last that long. And Chittle has stowed aboard here, and there's a chase scene, and they, do the old standing on their shoulders. Chim Chim's on top of Spritel's shoulders, and they fall into the water, and there they are swimming. And they see an anglerfish, a giant one. And Lorena says she's sorry. And then this had to be a funny ad lib, because I don't know what they were saying in Japanese, but I just thought that was hilarious. And, Chittle is, smart enough to realize where Speed is. They've got intercontinental, the Speed says an ICBM, and Trixie lets us know exactly what it is. And apparently Cumulus wants to rule the world, try to take over the world.
What are you doing tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky.
What?
Never mind.
I love that Barbara watches Pinky in the Brain. I mean, no wonder Batgirl's so cool. Be that as it may, Lorena grabs her dad's gun and threatens Cumulus, who just blasts her with the guns hidden in his vest. So she dies. Period. End of story. They don't even sugarcoat it. Speed grabs her gun, but gets captured yet again. And Spritel and Chim Chim with an unlimited supply of oxygen, apparently, or Chittle. And there's Chittle again. This time, Spritel's on top, so it's Sprim. And they're going to launch it and destroy things, but Chittle takes over and just blows up shit, and there it goes. Catch the head guy. Judo chop. Good. Trixie can take care of herself. She was not shy and retiring at all. Obviously, she's very jealous and very assertive. So, and he's got a nuclear bomb in the faux Mach 5, and off they go. But fortunately, Chittle has stowed away in the faux Mach 5's trunk, and they attack him. And apparently, Chittle can see over the. He can reach at the pedals and everything, but Speed jumps on. They beat him up. He throws him out, and it apparently kills him. Inspector Detector has no sympathy, no violins. If you want a Classics Nouveau reference there. And then her father has turned face, and now he's going to do that. I'm sure he's got to face jail time, but since Lorena's dead, and Inspector Detector wants them to help for their police cases as long as they get lots of candy. But even more thrilling adventures lay ahead. All right, so now the Royal Racer, which is a very Chittle heavy episode, 2 episodes storyline. Baby Grand Prix in where is it? Sakharin. Well, it looks like Sakharin now, but Sakharin is I think how they say it. But Chittle is not old enough to do it. They have to be 8, and he's like within 2 days of speed or 3 days. There they are landing now. I believe they're in India because they have snake charmers, and that looks suspiciously like the Taj Mahal. And Aji Baba lives there, so they're in Azerbaijan, or I forget where Aji Baba's from. We'll talk about it when we get to Prince Planet, because no one can compare to the prince who wears that medallion on his chest. That's his nephew or something, and that's our bad guy there. That's Aji Baba, the father. And Pops being formal makes Trixie giggle. Yeah. Prince Sugarin, his cousin. And guess who wants Prince Sugarin on the throne? Because he looks like a dope, right? And you don't even want to know what they're eating there. The king's gift is gone. Guess who was in the box? Chittle was in the box. They stowed aboard again. There's the cook chasing him and they run away. Nice march. This is our first look at Prince Yam, or Jam, probably, on an elephant. Prince Jam, yeah, who looks remarkably like uh, Spritle. Or, well, yeah, we got to say Spritle because he doesn't look like Chim Chim. There's our 3 villains now. I'm not even sure what they're supposed to be because we'll see. They throw out a blackout bomb and they grab Prince Jam. They're not very competent, though they're tough. Now here's them chasing Prince Jam in there. Speed is chasing Chittle into this side, and guess what happens? Kaboom! Spritle gets knocked out, and they think he's the prince because they look exactly alike. Now, Speed says they were terrific fighters, and he grabs the prince, who is he's yelling at him. He says he threatens him with a spanking, and there's nobody knows what they are scheming. Now, see, they're hanging upside down, so they're not ninja. I don't know what they are. So you tell me. Let me know in the comments if you have any idea what these 3 boneheads are. They're not very effective, though. So they give Spritle, because he's not Chittle at the moment. Chim Chim's floating about, but he gives him all the food he can eat. And look at him. That's just all gas, right? And he's going to put this remote control into the prince's car, and the prince is having a conniption, and they just leave him. They lock him in there in the bathroom and leave him there. And now they should beat Spritle when he confesses, because he just lets them think it. But the prince himself is pretty smart. He floods everything and it comes out. The race is about to start, and he thinks he's having fun. And there he is, signaling the bad guys to take over the car. Now Spritle's not having fun anymore. Speed goes after the rescue of the prince, and he's just crying now because he's a little wuss. I mean, he's pretty brave, but, he brought this upon himself. And guess what? The 3 would-be assassins chop it off, and down both of them go. Dun, dun, dun. Part 2. The Royal Racer Part 2. Down they go. And now Aji Baba thinks his son is dead. Prince Jam is dead. This bonehead says to blame Pops, so they arrest him, Pops and Trixie, because they don't know where Speed is. He's been hurt. And he finally, Spritle confesses, and at first Speed doesn't believe him. But yeah, he needs it. Spritle needs to be punished. I think that if we'd have seen him get some comeuppance here and there, he would be not quite as obnoxious. And he's not overall, really, but this is a very Chittle-centric episode. And the prince can't get any food because no one believes he's the prince. They throw their food at him, and then he gets captured. And And I think this is good for the prince, who probably mellowed out a bit about his peasants that he or his peons. And now the three assassins show up, and there is he's got a spade on him. No, yes, that's a spade. He's the ace of spades. Actually, that's a club, isn't it? You can tell I'm not a gambler. I just wanted to say ace of spades. Speed goes in and finds out. Now they show up here. Chittle, be careful. So they capture him, but the kids turn on him and throw. See, they've knocked Speed out with a wrench, but they throw wrenches at this guy and they take him out. They're all inside. I mean, this is fun. I mean, it's nice to see the kids taking up for each other. It's like an Our Gang comedy right now. The bad guys are there. That's what was the bully's name on Our Gang? Well, Speed's knocked out, and they take him with them, which is dumb. Once again, he ends up smacked on the wall, and then they threaten him. Look at that. Now, as I've said, a chimpanzee is dangerous. It's stronger than a grown man, and they can bite through flesh, and they are not. I mean, if you piss them off, get out of their way. And look, he's got sharp claws because they're gleaming. You can tell claws are sharp when they shine. Minister Offendum, he's the guy. So off they go. Guess who shows up there? Prince Jam. They're having him right before Sugarin can be crowned. I'm alive. And Aji Baba's so happy. And now Offendum calls his men, and the prisoner and Jam are right here. And then they're like, no, he's a fake. So another fight breaks out, and the other half of the kids go and rescue Speed and Prince Jam. And he's saying that the children of this country, want to save you. Oh, and Chim Chim's with him. So it's Jiddle. Jamel? Chim Cham. That's what it is. Chim Cham. Off they go. And Bridle, to his credit, says there's a reason. They're back underwater. The future king, Prince Jam. And now he's all happy again. Ah. I don't know why he had to be crowned. It looks like Aji Baba still got plenty of years on him, but there he is. Everyone's happy, but Chittle. And then they realize that they crossed the international date line, so he'll be 8 tomorrow. He can race, so they do. And they got to get a new car built. Of course, they've got all the money, more money than God, from the rulers of the country. So, and they tie for first place. So they're best buds. Not the worst thing to have a prince of a country or a king of a country, your best bud. And now we go on to the car hater. We start the car hater out with Trixie at the wheel of the Mach 5, and she's racing, zooming. These three toughs show up, and they tell her she drives like a girl, which makes her go even faster. It looks like they're on the Autobahn in Germany, but who knows? Pring, 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 pring. I'm sure these two are rattled. They're in the trunk again. And then they realize that it's Speed, their hero. And then they go and looks like they're in a tavern. And then these, Thug C, show up. And they Speed just beats this, stomps a mud hole in him and then walks it dry. There's three of them, A, B, and C. They don't get names. They're just Thug B and so off we go. And Trixie's annoyed that they like talking about racing so much. So she's even jealous of the guys. Janine Trotter shows up. She wants to be a race car driver, but she'll never be one. So Trixie lets her does like, hey, let's go drive. You can drive the Mach 5. And then her dad shows up. And her dad hates cars because the son, and he whips the Mach 5. Like, I don't even know if it's like it's going to hurt it. I mean, it's going to peel off paint. But so he whips the Mach 5 and he says, my son got killed. And Speed lies to him and says, I worked delivering hamburgers or something. I don't know what. But off he goes. And they're racing on a new track here. And Speed invites Janine over. And then, of course, Dad shows up. And he's running down there. He causes a whole bunch of cars to wreck and burn and probably hurts a lot of people. But he's just interested in getting cars off the road. They're engines of destruction. And he's going to get sued. I mean, so the thugs, A, B, and C there, say, hey, we'll help you out for money. Cars are rolling weapons. And all they go. So they sabotage a bunch of cars. Things blow up. tremendous amount of accidents, which it must be a small town, but then why would they not know? So Speed's still hanging out with Janine, and then Sparky, they see him running in there. He beats up the thugs. You got to get Thug A. That's Thug C. So they spill it. Now this is the first single episode that they have. It's episode 26. The first half of the series is over. We'll be done. We'll be halfway through the series now. Trotter wants to know where she's hiding. He's still lucky Speed didn't punch him. Then he says he's off on the car, and they've wrecked the brakes. So there they are. Oh, Trixie's driving. N543. That's their license plate. Screams! Speed's after him. Something's wrong with it. I mean, they fixed the car. Kaboom! Apparently, Trixie's okay. She probably had her seatbelt on, but Janine is not. The horse is tired because he's raced out there. And she just says, Speed does the right thing. They give her to her, and he lets her go because he wants to. At least he's smart enough to want his daughter to live. This is a whole Captain Ahab thing where he's blinded by his hatred of cars. I mean, it's a good episode. I mean, for a single episode, you don't get as much time to develop the characters right. I mean, if it had been two, there would have been a great bigger race. No race in here at all. He's at a racetrack, and he actually says he's paying for the crimes he's been committed. Pops has built him a sports car. Pops must be making money now because Speed's making money, and the thugs are now having to help people, including dogs, cross the street. And he's going to let her. Everybody laughs at the thugs. And stay tuned for the next thrilling episode of Speed Racer, which will probably only be 4, but you never know. All right, my fellow agents, tomorrow we'll be watching The Lost Continent from, I want to say 1951. There's Cesar Romero's top line build, Hillary Brooke, who we haven't seen her before, but you'll know who she is. I enjoy it, despite all the rock climbing. And until our next assignment, this is X7 signing off and phasing out. And remember, the sun never sets on those who drive into it.
See Man versus Dinosaur. See and thrill to the terrifying rumble of the first atomic earthquake. See the world's biggest uranium field explode before your very eyes.